Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And very, very exciting news. Movies TV Mad has launched an Instagram account, Movies TV Mad X. We are now on Instagram. Please support us over on Instagram. There's 3 brand new videos on there, so please check it out. So about a week ago, it was revealed that James Gunn allegedly had some exchanges about Batman 89, Jack Nicholson's performance in Batman 89, his views about Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Now, what he was saying, or what was said on there, was that he hated Batman 89, he hated Nicholson's performance, he hated his clown makeup, and he didn't like Batman Begins, and he didn't think that The Dark Knight was a classic. Well, James Gunn has finally responded about all of this, and he's put a screenshot of a message he's got from Facebook. So this message is telling him that he's being hacked. Now, I understand the cynical people out there, and I'm a little bit cynical about these situations, may think it's fake and it's James Gunn trying to wriggle out of this situation. So let me read to you what the screenshot said. Hi James, it looks like someone may have accessed your Facebook account. To secure your account, you will need to answer a few questions and change your password the next time you go to Facebook. For your protection, no one can see you on Facebook until you secure your account. Thanks, the Facebook security team. So that's what it says. Do I think it's real? Do I think this is a thing? Or do I think this is James Gunn trying to wriggle out of it? I don't know. But all I can do as a reasonable human being is give James the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to go down a conspiracy theory angle here. So that's the message. So James is saying he was hacked by posting that on his Instagram. If someone has done this to James Gunn's account, you're pathetic, you're weak, you're cowardly, and you're an idiot. Because ultimately, as problematic as those views were, they were 11 years ago, they were his views. I mean, I was concerned reading them, thinking that someone running DC had those views, but that wouldn't really sway me to left or right whether James Gunn should be running DC. It's whether James Gunn is a good CEO. So far, I feel he's crashed and burned as a CEO. He's confused fans, he's put comic book panels up, then said they're nothing to do with the project he's doing, they're just inspirations. He's had Momoa come up and talk about playing Lobo. Is he going to carry on playing Aquaman? Nobody knows. It's been confusing. And then we thought, once we saw the Flash movie, in fact, James in the studio told us we would know a little bit more about their future plans after we saw the Flash. But the Flash confused the issue even more. And all we really saw was Barry Allen in a universe with George Clooney's Batman. But what really has to happen now with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is that by the end of that film, we have to know where we are in the next chapter of DC, the DC universe. They have to show us that they're in a new universe where some of the DC EU actors will still be there and some of them will not. We don't need a whole explanation. Obviously, they want to keep a few cards close to their chest, and I understand. But the general audience need to understand where they are and where we're going to be going forward at the very least. Because the general audience don't go onto Twitter. They don't watch, platforms like mine, so they get an explanation of what's going on. You know what's going on. I know what's going on, even if it's not explained to us properly. But it's so vital that by the end of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, that there's further explanations. James Gunn told us that the Flash movie was one of the best CBMs he ever saw. Clearly, he didn't mean that. Problematic, under pressure from Zaslav to do so. We know he didn't really want to direct Superman Legacy. I think after the strikes, you may find that someone else may rewrite his script, and he still may not ending up end up directing that movie. So that will be very, very interesting. But there's been a lot of problems since James Gunn has become co-CEO of DC Studios. In terms of the Henry Cavill situation, the real problem thing is there that they lied. They told us he was coming back to sell more tickets for Black Adam. It didn't work. And then there seemed to be a reversal in that decision, but was it even really a real decision? Was it all a lie, and did they suck in Henry into lying about it as well? Who's going to know? I'm very, very cynical. That's more Zaslav than James Gunn. I've always understood that a new CEO, a new showrunner, a new person in charge of DC would want their own people playing Superman and Batman. It makes total sense. Another issue that's confusing everyone is Wonder Woman. Is Gal Gadot going to play Wonder Woman or not? There seems to be no plans for a Wonder Woman movie. Zaslav told us that they were going to go deep with Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman. All we're getting so far is a Wonder Woman prequel, Paradise Lost, a TV streaming show on Max. So it's all very, very confusing. Then we've got this Elseworlds part of the DC universe now, which is nothing to do with DCU. And it looks like that's just a place where they're dumping the Batman movies and Max content. And of course, Todd Phillips' Joker and Joker Folie à Deux universe. There doesn't seem to be any plans to create anything. But Gunn did say that there would have to be a higher margin of quality so you could get a DC Elseworld project greenlit. That's interesting. James Gunn has announced some interesting plans. Part 1 of Gods and Monsters as a Superman film, a Batman film, a Wonder Woman streaming show, a Swamp Thing movie, an Authority movie, which is very interesting as well. The Authority is going to be a big part of his plan. On paper, his plans look interesting, but there's been so much misinformation, there's been so many issues. And of course, what hasn't helped James Gunn is that these DCEU movies have been a disaster, and they weren't very good movies, despite what real DC fans were attempting to do on Twitter by showing us how great apparently the Flash movie was. It wasn't a great movie, it was an inconsistent movie. I think that Ezra Miller gave a brilliant performance playing two different characters. I said that in my non-spoiler review, and I'm not going to go back on that. But at the end of the day, James Gunn will be judged on Superman Legacy. And if Superman Legacy is a great movie, then they can kick on. James Gunn may create a brilliant DC universe. He may create a bad DC universe. But until we see what he's planning, it's very difficult to judge him. But there are the Snyderverse stands out there who are making things very difficult for James Gunn. And I'm assuming some of them maybe hacked his Facebook, if his Facebook was indeed hacked. But as I say, I'm giving James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm going to say. Of course, it may not be true that his Facebook account was hacked, but I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, if new evidence comes out that he's misled us with that situation, that will be something I deal with here on my platform, there and then. But as far as I'm concerned, James Gunn's Facebook account was hacked, and whoever hacked it is an idiot. You've caused some problems for James Gunn and WB and DC, yeah. We've debated it on this very channel. I've called those views problematic. But considering that it looks like his Facebook account was hacked, I have to go back and say, well, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make my mind up about whether he should be co-CEO of DC Studios. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. James Gunn is no CEO. He's a great writer-director. The reason the Guardians trilogy is great, because he wanted to do those films. The reason why I love the Suicide Squad, and it's a great movie, even though it didn't make any money, is because he wanted to make that movie. The reason I love Peacemaker, because it's a good limited series, is because he wanted to make it. He never wanted to make a Superman movie. And if I was him, I'd allow someone else to rewrite that script. Use David Cornswell. Use the cast he's already cast so far. But at the end of the day, and he could showrun. He can showrun that movie and Brave and the Bold and the other ones. but maybe he should allow somebody else to do it. I don't know. He most probably will carry on making that film, but as he said, he wasn't really sure. He wanted to spend the next 2 years making a film that he wasn't really that excited and motivated to do. And, you know, and that's the devil in the detail, everyone. That he really isn't into Superman. He really doesn't want to make a Superman film. And my opinion on this cinematic universe, on any cinematic universes, hasn't changed one little bit. The time for DC to have a cinematic universe is over. But as I say, James Gunn may be able to nail a DC cinematic universe. We will see. But I think the best thing for DC and film in general is to bring in auteurs to do a movie and to, you know, execute their vision and their artistic integrity. And that's how we can have a brand new golden age for films, whether it's, you know, DC or Marvel or just a standalone film that somebody's making. I think that's the great direction for Hollywood to go in the future. There have been conflicting reports about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom's future. In fact, I came in with some information from one of my best sources that WB Discovery were thinking about shelving that movie. Well, since then, there's been a poster put out there, and now we've even seen a Mera and Aquaman bit of merchandise. Now, you're not going to sell anything with Amber Heard's Mera, WB. Anything. Any merch. Because people are going to boycott this movie because of Amber. So what do you do as usual? It's the most dumbest thing you can do. You've got a piece of merch with Mera and Aquaman. Yes, put the merch for Momoa's Aquaman, by all means. And, you know, Patrick Wilson's all. Considering they dominate the movie, it's a road movie between them. Why are you trying to sell Mera merchandise when you know there's no chance? When your former president of DC Films tried to remove Amber Heard, citing a lack of chemistry between Jason Momoa and herself. So why are you trying to sell merch? It's not going to work. Nobody is going to buy Mera merch. What's wrong with New Hollywood? What's wrong with you? Don't you do your research? Are you so much deeply in your Californian echo chamber that you don't understand what real people, your customers, how they feel in the real world? No one is going to buy that shit. Why? Why do you do things like that? Why do you shave against the grain? It's just not going to work. Should they be releasing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? Not with the way they've messed with it and how I'm hearing they've messed with it. As I've said many times, these 5 movies should never have been released. They should have been shelved, and then James Gunn and Peter Safran should have made their announcements. That's what should have happened, right? Because these movies being released and being disasters at the box office has really damaged DC's reputation. I mean, the reputation really has been damaged since Justice League, Green Lantern, and movies like that. But what this does, flop after flop, you know, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, flop, flop. The Flash movie, flop. Blue Beetle, flop. Most certainly, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, flop. It damages your reputation and the future because people are not going to see these movies. But as I'm here, let's answer that question, that mystery. Why aren't people going to see these movies? Let's ask the question the Hollywood Reporter did a couple of weeks ago. Where have all the DC fans gone? They haven't gone anywhere. They went to see the Batman, they went to see Joker. But they're not seeing these movies because there's no interest. Because we all know James Gunn's coming in to do something new, and that's where the excitement is. I'm not one of those who believe because people are not going to watch these DCEU movies that people won't support the new DCU. But it's been problematic. And James Gunn, with some of the stuff he's been saying publicly in the confusion, hasn't helped. But I'm convinced that people do believe in James Gunn. People believed in James Gunn enough to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a very, very good film. But these DCEU movies should have been shelved. They had the foresight to shelve Batgirl. Zaslav didn't do it in the right way. He did it in a very disrespectful way. But it was the right decision. And the other movies should have been shelved. Because everyone says, oh, well, they don't want to lose money. They're losing money by marketing them and them being flops. They should have got tax write-offs on every single one of these movies and then held their breaths for Gunn's plan. And they didn't do that, and it's damaging them more and more and more. So with the poster out, with the merch of Aquaman and Mera, it looks like they are planning in releasing this movie. Or are they? The first place you'll find out for sure is here on Movies TV Mad. See you again soon.